Why did you take my light? The darkness will not
Why did you take my light? The darkness will not survive.
light?